All right, dear devotees, very happy to be in this exalted association. And Kumkum Devi Das is in front of the bookstore in Navadip, is it?
Well, it's actually Tijuana, a book fair.
Oh, Tijuana. Okay,
Yes.
it looked like a book fair. And I think a Tijuana book fair and a Navadip and Calcutta book fair look quite similar.
I see. Okay.
Jai.
So lovely.
Oh, yes, lovely to see all the books. This is the kind of display Gurudev will be very happy to see.
Oh,
Beautiful. Hare Krishna. So, dear devotees, we've come together. Let's give obeisances as we're a few minutes in. Yes, Nimai Priyadiri, you're at home. You didn't go to work yet. Good. Too early to go to work. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaiṣṇavebhyo namo namaha. And Sakala Vaiṣṇava-aparādha more namaskar ittikichva-aparādha huka ama hoyaichina hoiban prabhu jatta bhaktajan vandane koryami shobarai charan. To all of the feet of all of the devotees, past, present, and future, we give our obeisances and pray they do not take our offense, and the opposite, that they may give us a gracious glance. Hare Krishna Jivana Devidas, good evening. The sun is shining in San Jose. Dandavat. All right, so Jagannath came home since we were together. I forget when Jagannath left. He must have left before our, oh yes, he certainly left before our last gathering. But now Jagannath Dev has come home, and unbelievably, for me, unbelievably, Saturday is the beginning of Chaturmasya. And when I think of Chaturmasya, we always think of the build-up of Chaturmasya coming to the Kartik month. So now Chaturmasya is about to begin, which is the build-up to Kartik, to Radharani's month, to the traditionally, the gatherings, the pilgrimages, the parikramas which take place each year, and in Vrindavan, in Govardhan, in Puri, in Navadip, in the three principal places of our pilgrimages. And this year, well, I think it'll take a miracle, but miracles do happen. If India opens up and allows pilgrimages, it doesn't look like it from what I hear. At least not in the physical sense, but in the heart sense, let us all continue happily in our connection with spiritual Govardhan, spiritual Navadip, spiritual Puri, as revealed by Srila Saraswati Thakur, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, and Srila Prabhupada. Where one of the 10 offenses to the holy name is one thing, but one of the 10 offenses to the holy Dham is to consider that the Dham is part of a province such as West Bengal or any Bengal, such as Bengal or UP or anything like that, or Orissa, Odessa, however you want to pronounce it, whereas externally Jagannath Puri. So one of the offenses is to consider that the Dham is part of a province, and so this time also helps us to understand it is not part of a province. A Dham is something extra, something special. Extra special. Okay, we'll put the two words together, something extra special. But that Saturday is the beginning of Chaturmasya is pretty astounding for me, because it's another year rapidly has rapidly passed by, and actually a few of them, not only 1 year passed by. Okay, a few years have rapidly passed by, and they continue to rapidly pass by. And forever we are being reminded in practically everything we read and we hear from our guardians that we need to take seriously now our spiritual life, give our full attention, make our life successful. Otherwise, we don't know where we can go according to what is waiting behind us. And Gurudev also, he clearly not only indicated, he directly said, really, we have some responsibility for our fate if we are deliberately not using our opportunity nicely. If we are, in other words, we are delaying our fortune from manifesting. So Gurudev is saying we must be successful one day or another, because we've come in touch. We've got this connection, the service connection with Srila Guru Maharaj. His emphasis is right there, because we are seeing our nearest connection with the upper world, and not only our nearest, as Gurudev says, in course of time, Srila Guru Maharaj will be recognized as who he is, one of the great Parshads of Mahaprabhu, great Parshads of Krishna, who has come for the purpose to distribute and continue Srila Saraswati Thakur's distribution of his message. And that message is that of Mahaprabhu and Guru Maharaj giving original thought, original conception, giving us protection, being very approachable through Srila Gurudev, but being very understandable by us of the Western world, who, let's face it, are not, like Guru Maharaj was able to do, not able to speak conversational Sanskrit. Even our best Sanskrit scholars in the Western world, hard put to have a conversation in Sanskrit, write a newspaper article in Sanskrit. Oh dear. Hare Krishna. All right, so this week we are back to basics. So I can first ask to Praneshwari Devidasi, was there something left over from last week?
No, Maharaj. No.
No, okay. Sometimes I keep a note. This week I didn't have any note. But maybe this week we can ask to somebody. Who will we ask to say, what have you read, or what has inspired you? Any one-liners, two-liners, paragraphs, deep conceptions, which you can share with us. And Jeevana has her microphone open, so I think it's a sign that we'll hear from Jeevana first, because she doesn't even have to move a finger in order to speak with us. Jeevana Devi.
Definitely an oversight. I came across this note that I had for many years, actually, because this came up several times in Vaiṣṇava-aparādha, later known as Vaiṣṇava Maharaj's classes. And they're the four, I'm not sure where this comes from exactly, but they're the 4 ways to not offend a Vaishnav. So, for example, there's something called jati dosh, right? It means not to consider any faults from birth, or any of their birth, where they took birth, how they took birth. If they have some physical or mental defects, none of that should be considered in associating with devotees. And then another one was purvadosh, and that means things that were done previously. So some Vaishnava, maybe something in their past they did. And Vaiṣṇava Maharaj would say, it could have been like 5 minutes ago, or it could have been like 10 years ago. But things that were done previously are not to be considered. And then the third one was karachikta dosh, and those are things that are done once in a while. So someone may do something here and there, not really done all the time, but might be done once in a while. And we are not to take that into consideration. And the last one that he mentioned is something called nashtapraya avatishta dosh. And that is the remnants that are left over after one is almost completely Krishna conscious. He spent many, many lifetimes pursuing Krishna consciousness, sacrifices and austerities, so many things that devotee has gone through. But there's still some fault, something left that someone may want to criticize or comment on. And it would be a terrible offense. This is a person who's actually gone through so much, and they may have some remnant left over. So he used to speak about that periodically in his classes. And I thought that was really good things to remember and to note.
Definitely. And I have a question. Where did you find these technical terms?
You know, because he used to give the class on it, I said, oh, can you please send me, you know, what you gave the class on? And so he sent them to me in an email. So I don't know what the, I don't know where it actually came from.
It came from Shruta Shavaprabhu, who has got it from the scripture. Now we know. Do you have it right there? Can you send it in the chat box, or if you take a little photo and send the photo or something? I'm not sure. It looks like you got it on one of those.
Yeah, I do have because years ago, right? Years ago, I printed it out from his email and I stuck it in my wallet. And then it wasn't so long ago that I came across it when I was cleaning out my wallet, and I thought, this needs a better place because it's getting kind of ripped up. But yeah, I can try and take a picture and see if I can post it.
Okay. Most people keep money in their wallet. So I think you're looking for some money and found another kind of treasure.
Very likely.
Yeah, please do share that with us. Because we've heard it, and this is DOSA, and it is, I forget what the diacritics is, but it's not dasa. Sometimes the devotees are saying dasa with these things, dosha, dosh, something like that. And not dosha as in South Indian prasadam. You see, Sanskrit's very tricky. Other languages are very tricky. Hare Krishna. But this is very good because, because why? I mean, for many reasons it's very good, but I can say something that exactly yesterday in our world, which is 24 hours ago, so it'll be yesterday in your world, and I still have the page open on the little tablet, then we are reading from Affectionate Guidance, which has been our book of the moment, but we finished it yesterday. And the very last, the very end of the book, just before you see there, it says Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat, the very end of the book. The very last direction of Srila Gurudev is this. My principal directive to all the devotees is to try to avoid Vaiṣṇava-aparādha and thereby continue happily your practicing life. So, Jivana, you've given us a very substantial way to help us avoid Vaiṣṇava-aparādha. So, just so I can recap for myself too, the first one was, the first one was not to consider one's birth, where he's taken birth, how he's taken birth, etc., etc. Number 2 was not to consider his past activities, even from a long time ago, or whether it was 10 minutes ago or 10 years ago. Number 3 was?
Things done once in a while.
Or things done once in a while. Once in a while.
Yeah.
Okay. Things done once in a while. And 4, the present circumstance. Something may be left over, but he's in the process of purification. And as Gurumar says, dirt coming from something which is being purified is different than dirt emanating from something which is intrinsically dirty. So the Vaishnavas are in the purification process. Yes, Jivana, very good. And this one, well, it's not one liner, this one sentence from Gurudev, just also, like, just here is, after so much in the book, so much guidance, and well, guess what? Affectionate guidance within the book. Then Gurudev saying, my principal directive to all the devotees is to try to avoid Vaiṣṇava-aparādha and thereby continue happily your practicing life. So very appropriate, very suitable, Jivana. And all the time, any tips of how to avoid Vaiṣṇava-aparādha are always welcome.
Well, you gave the class, I mean, in one of your Zoom talks when you were in in Italy. It might have been a London Zoom talk, but you were reading from something, and I was going to ask you where this was, but it was that you said, you were reading it. It said, one must be very careful not to make any remark about the practices and activities of another Vaishnava. Said it may be possible only in the case when one is empowered by the Supreme, for example, in the case of his disciple, to correct his disciples with a guardian sympathetic eye. He can mark the defects and he can help him to remove the defects. I wasn't sure where you were reading from.
That sounds like something I was reading as an excerpt from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Because certainly, we have, and I can find, but maybe not at this very second on the live Zoom, because I need to search. But certainly we've got these quotes from Srila Saraswati Thakur where he is saying that it is not your duty to see the faults in others. I have to do that because I'm here to give guidance and correction. So I have to see their faults that need correcting, but I don't wish that anybody else would have to look with such a vision that I have to look with for my service, like that. So rather, he's telling the devotees, and this was like a senior concerned devotee, you can say, pointing out some faults actually in a manager of a temple, and Srila Saraswati Thakur saying to that devotee, it's not for you to see those, I have to see them. But to find the exact quote, then I'll need to make a note and try to do that. You have given us, through Shuta Shravana and through Gurudev, through the scripture, you've given us a treasure in how to avoid Vaiṣṇava-aparādha and 4 things which are there. And I'll try to respond with another treasure, that treasure. And I can say from myself, and we've heard how Gurudev has explained this too. I mean, okay, but this is not Gurudev's words, but what I can say, like from myself, if you like, from a point of view of trying to follow the 10 offenses to the holy name, which begin with Vaiṣṇava-aparādha, and which is listed as the most dangerous, the most serious of all the offenses. That is, for each of the offenses, to memorize them, and then, as Gurudev says, and avoid them. But the avoiding part, if we can try to consciously do the opposite of the offense, this is always my advice to myself as well as to others, to try to do the opposite of the offense. And then the offense, we may hope, will be far away, or it'll be a shadow, it'll be something that's remaining, because as we repeatedly are told as we read, if we actually chant the name without offense, then we will have all kinds of ecstatic symptoms, and you won't be able to drive your car while chanting your japa. So just a little reminder. Oh, look, Rupanuga was driving his car. Oh, you're in the passenger seat. You're allowed to have ecstatic symptoms in the passenger seat.
I was swimming today and chanting my japa.
It
works well.
Swimming and chanting your japa. Okay, I maybe won't ask the details. You've probably invented some special armrest while in the river. Hare Krishna. And now is midwinter in Australia. I expect a bit chilly. And look, you're wearing a jacket, you see. Hare Krishna. Yes, Praneshri Didi. And as Praneshri Didi asks a question or makes a point, I can also say to each of you, you can think something on this theme and share something with us. I mean, now about the avoidance of Vaiṣṇava-aparādha, which has appeared as a theme for today. And in the meantime, in the chat.
In the chat, exactly. Chinmoy and Kumkum Didi have jewels in the chat, Maharaj.
They have duels.
Jewels.
Huh? Oh, jewels. Okay. A duel is sometimes good when there's competition. Not for wrong, but for right. Okay, jewels. They are dueling with jewels. This is very good. So Chinmoy Dev Prabhu is giving us. Similarly, the body of a devotee is always supramundane. Although one may see faults within the inborn nature or body of a devotee is never mundane. One who nonetheless criticizes a devotee commits a terrible sin. That's from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhajana Lalasa, hankering for service. Or Sharanagati, the chapter is Bhajana Lalasa, hankering for service in Sharanagati. Yes, Chinmoy Dev, too much thank you.
There's also in the description of that shloka, they seem to add something, and I think it might be what Nichakula Avibhava Karkastata Valasyadi Svabhika Dosha. That might be what Jivana was talking about.
Okay.
Not positive because I don't know Bengali.
Acha, but you did do pretty well of remembering a Bengali shloka.
Is that correct, Jivana?
I don't know, but it could very well be because, Sri Srava Prabhu, later known as Vaiṣṇava-aparādha, was very good with Bengali, and he would read in Bengali quite frequently.
Is that what you have written on your paper, though?
No, I sent, let me see I sent it to Praneshwari because I'm not sure how to post it, but it's just like a scrap of paper. But let me, I didn't see what you posted. Let me have a look.
Srila Saraswati Thakur advised how to be firmly protected. So the next entrance here is Kumkum's jewel, which is that my advice, which actually I do repeatedly come back to, because here there are 14 points, if I remember rightly, and they're like specific points pointed out by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. As written in Srimad, I can read this. I'll read this just now, if I may. This is the translation of my advice by Srila Saraswati Thakur. So first of all, as written in Srimad Mahaprabhu's Shikshastakam, Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. May Shri Krishna Sankirtan be supremely victorious. This is the Gaudiya Mat's only objective. Number 2, the recipient of all service, Shri Krishna, is the only enjoyer. Everyone other than him is to be enjoyed by him. Number 3, everyone other than the Lord's servants is ignorant and self-destructive. Hare Krishna. That's my Hare Krishna. Wow, my echo of a Hare Krishna. Next, so I forget how many we got to, maybe number 4 now. Practicing tolerance is a resident of the mat's foremost duty. Okay, we've all heard that one before, and we need to really keep it in our heart. 5, devotees who follow Sri Rupa do not believe in their own strength, and they ascribe all greatness to its origin. 6, chanting Sri Krishna, chanting Sri Hari Nama and meeting the Lord are one and the same. 7, those who follow muddled religious principles cannot serve the Lord. Those who follow muddled religious principles cannot serve the Lord. By establishing printing presses, publishing devotional literature, and organizing Sankirtan programs, one will truly serve Sri Mayapur. And I think we're up to number 9. Everyone should serve the Lord unitedly, being intent upon the same ideal. A place in which the Lord is discussed is a holy place. We are not moralists or sinners, scholars or illiterates. We are carriers of the shoes of the Lord's sincere servants who are initiated into the mantra, Kirtanya Sada Harihi. The Lord's name is to be chanted constantly. Next, do not criticize the characters of others. Purify yourself. This is my advice. In the policy of Mahaprabhu, we do not find the policies of the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, or Yavanas. We understand from his teachings that he supported the highest of the Rishis' policies. Following his lead, Mahaprabhu's lead, we also will support Brahma's policy, Bhagavat Dharma. Okay, and 14, yes, so 14 in all. Serving the residents of Braja, who are heartbroken in separation after Krishna's departure for Mathura, is our highest ideal. Now, if anybody asks you what is meditation, now you can give them something to meditate upon, 14 points to meditate upon. So Chinmoy Dev, oh no, this wasn't Chinmoy Dev, this is from Kumkumdiri, yes. Chinmoy Dev is from Sharanagati. Hare Krishna, thank you for bringing this to our attention again. It's almost like we could have a daily sadhana, you know, which would last all day long, going over these points, because it's like we should read this every day, but we should read a lot of things every day. But we can only take so much food and digest every day. But as we do, and as in our life we do, we are taking some part, and every day we are taking our food. And also in affectionate guidance here, Gurudev is saying about the books and the rereading and rereading, etc. And now I'm again may not find the quote exactly. And when we get to the end, we start again. We have so much in our nourishing, fully nourishing storehouse. So let us try to practice chastity. That is the chastity, to keep the nourished in the line of Guru Maharaj and Gurudev, the line of Srila Prabhupada, the line of Srila Saraswati Thakur. Okay, now we get some handwritten notes, I think. Let us see. Click. I clicked, but I don't. Open file. Oh. Hare Krishna. Oh, I like this kind of note. I had a notebook, but by the, what can I say? If it is the will of Krishna or not, I do not know. But it as many things did, got stolen, disappeared. Jati dosh, the faults from birth. Purva dosh, the things done previously. Nashta praya avashishta dosh, the remnants that are Krishna consciousness. The remnants that are Krishna consciousness is awakened in the heart. But you're saying this is things done. Oh, we're going to need you to help us, I think. and kadachit kadosh, those things done once in a while. Nashta praya avashishta dosh.
Maharaj, I think the meaning of that is when your Krishna consciousness is awakened, there is still some leftovers that left there, some imperfections, and Srila Gurudev speaks extensively in numerous talks about it. A little bit, a tiny bit. And in relation to Gundicha margin, this is what Mahaprabhu is addressing then, the finest dust. Everything has to be removed. So it refers to that, because they can be noticed time to time, even in the heart of the Vaishnava, who is quite developed in Krishna consciousness. This is the reference.
Jai. And Paramanandan remembers the Bengali references. So yes, so these are advices how to avoid Vaiṣṇava-aparādha. And okay, so we read the advice of Srila Saraswati Thakur too, as the jewel given to us by Kumkum Didi. And now I open the door and ask anybody who likes to say something on this theme, please to mention. And in the meantime, Seva Rupa of Mexico. Didi, welcome.
Dandavat Madhusudan Maharaj, Dandavat all devotees, please accept my humble obeisances unto your feet.
Dandavat, and our obeisances to you. We've given obeisances to each other as we came together, and our obeisances to you. Welcome. We're on the theme of good tips to avoid Vaiṣṇava-aparādha. Rupa Vilas Prabhu, would you like to say a word or two? We haven't had your contribution for a short while. I know you always have responsible things to do, but today we are happy to have you with us here.
Well, first of all, my dandavat to all of you. Yes, I can only speak of what I have been through or experienced. It is really true, there's no doubt. I'm a very sinful man, but there always come a time I ask myself, why am I in this Krishna consciousness movement? For what reason? And somehow, many things come to my realizations through the help of the devotees. So now, every time that I would hear a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th canto, it says here, Avismrti Krishna Paradavindayo, Chinoti Avadrani Cha Samtanoti Satvasya Sudhim Paramatma Bhaktim Dhyanancha Vigyana Viraga Yuktang. This came from the book Waking from the Dream, on the book Awakening to the Absolute by Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakshila Deva Goswami Maharaj. And he says, for one who remembers the lotus feet of Krishna, all inauspiciousness soon disappears, and one's good fortune expands. In other words, one becomes free from all material contamination. One attains liberation from embittered birth and death, and one's real spiritual life begins. So I find that my hope is here in this congregation. So you would always find me in your midst. And I hope you can bear with me. A very inauspicious person is in your midst.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
And I hope you can have a heart on this lowly soul. And I remember the teachings of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, who says there is a newspaper editor who came to the mat, and he says, I just noticed that your devotees are doing nothing. why just don't you send them home? They're doing the same thing, you know? And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says, is there any better place than this temple? If you could tell me, I'll send it to them. No, I'll send them to the place. So I although find it humorous, but in reality, it's really true. So here I am in Krishna consciousness. I may be tumbling, falling down, but still, with your help, I'm still very encouraged. So I admire this congregation, this BBC video. It encouraged me. And in fact, I'm encouraging others also to help them. Though I may be sinful, I always find myself talking about Krishna, and all by your mercy, because you had infected me. So don't ever think of throwing me out. Have pity on me. Dandavat to all of you.
No devotee would ever think of throwing you out, Rupa Vilas Prabhu. A dear devotee showing us the example of our Guru's teaching. So Prabhu, very happy. Guru Maharaj's disciple from the Philippines. I think you all know him. Or know him through the Zoom, world famous Rupa Vilas Prabhu. And maintaining in one very crazy city. Everybody knows my opinion of Manila. A crazy city. Hare Krishna. Yes, Paramananda Prabhu.
Yes, Maharaj. So something came to mind, triggered by Jivana's Didi introduction to this conversation. So it's a story when Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Sridhar Maharaj observed, maybe he observed some kind of a misbehavior. And then he addressed that situation to Srila Saraswati Thakur, asking how shall we digest and how can we react on this kind of breaking a rule, breaking a law, misbehaving, showing a bad example. And at that moment, when Srila Guru Maharaj asked Srila Saraswati Thakur did not answer to him. And 6 months passed. And once Srila Guru Maharaj was in the presence of Saraswati Thakur, who was giving a class on Srimad Bhagavatam. It was in South India. I don't remember exact place where it happens. But after reading one verse, Srila Saraswati Thakur pointed it to Srila Guru Maharaj, who was present in audience. He said, here is the answer to your question. And Guru Maharaj said, and I was surprised. I didn't even remember what kind of question I have asked. But Saraswati Thakur pointed out, he remembered for 6 months. He was considering that. And then when he found that verse, he said, here is the answer. You must be satisfied with this answer. And the answer was the shloka, Swapada Mulam Bhajata Priyasya Tyaktanya Bhavasya Hari Paresha Vipadayat Kat Pachitam Kat Hanchit Dhunoti Sarvam Hridi Sannivishtam. And the meaning is that someone who is already surrendered, he is on a path of surrender. He is trying sincerely to give everything to Krishna. If he commits even the most abominable offense, Krishna will take away the results of his offense. All the sins will be cancelled by Krishna himself because he sees the good intention in the heart of such person. And then Srila Prabhupada in his commentary is saying that due to the influence, we shouldn't forget that point. Daivi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratya. Krishna says himself, Maya is extremely powerful, not extremely, the most powerful in this world. Only Krishna can cancel her power. So we coming under the influence sometime, even though in our heart we already decided we want to be with Krishna. So due to that coming under the influence of Maya, we may commit all sorts of abominable things, sins, mistakes, break the law, break rules and regulations. But our hearts still focused on the lotus feet of the Lord. So in this case, it will be cancelled. It's not to be used by us to justify our misdeeds, but this is help us to develop a vision of the Vaishnava, of a person who is going towards the absolute truth. trying to find shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord. And then Krishna conforms it. That's Srimad Bhagavatam. That's Vyasadeva. Then we can say, oh, what did Krishna says about it? He says in Bhagavad Gita, it's a very famous verse. Apichet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadur eva chamantavya samvyak yavasito pisat. And then he continues, Kshipram bhavati dharmatra nigachati nigachati kauntiya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. So he says that due to the influence of the association with the sadhus, the devotees, a person who is just starting his journey or her journey towards the Krishna's lotus feet, due to that influence, he will get purified, even though at that moment he may be doing some kind of that is described by sudurachar. Durachar means something that is really wrong, and sudurachar means extremely wrong, like doing something really not nice. And that will be also purified by the power of association with the Vaishnavas. So here is what Maharaj mentioned in the morning, quoting Guru Maharaj. When somebody is in the shower already, you don't go to that person and say, hey, you are dirty. Look how dirty you are. You are standing in the shower room. You're cleaning. You're in the process. Why would you point it out? Look at the positive. He is in the process of purification. This is why Srila Rupa Goswami in Upadeshamritam gives us steps. First, in the 5th verse, he describes what our visions, what our relationship with the Vaishnava should be. And that verse starts with Krishneti Yasi Giritam Manasadriyate. He says that the beginning, the one who just started chanting the holy name, we should offer our respects in our mind. The one who is already initiated, fully committed, we have to befriend such person, try to serve together. And one who is absolutely dedicated, Ananya Bhakt, he is to be worshipped and taken shelter of. So this is Rupa Goswami. And right after that verse, he is saying, Drishtva svabhava janitarva pushascha dosharna prakritasya iha bhakta janasya pashit. He says that you should not see those material faults in the bhakta, in the devotee. And then he gives example of the Ganges, Ganga basam nakalabud budapena pankar. He said that Ganges appear to have muddy, to carry all sorts of dirty objects in the water, but we're still taking bath, believing, having full faith that Ganges water is transcendental, divine, and able to purify us. So this is our vision. So there is always some steps. It's not exactly black and white. Guru Maharaj always says that gradations. And what is Rupa Goswami is giving is the main gradations, but they also have sub-gradations in everything. So we have to be conscious about that as well, because we tend to take certain statement as a dogma and imply it in our life, but it's not going to do us good. We have to understand the intricacies of that. And luckily, we have such Vaishnavas as Guru Maharaj and Gurudev who explained all those intricacies already. Like I'm having here on the table, a guru in his grade. I mean, that's just a wonderful book. And if you just pay attention, what is written on every page of this book, we will have no problem whatsoever in this life or in the next. The problem is that we're not paying enough attention. So we must ask ourselves, do I really understand what is written here? And then give that answer to ourselves. And the answer will be not really. So read it again, read it again, read it again. And then everything will be harmonized. How to harmonize ourselves with the environment, with the devotees around us, how to avoid the Vaiṣṇava-aparādha, all those things will come to life, not just some theory, not just some statements, dogma, one-sided things. We should always consider time, circumstance, why it was said, how it should be applied in our life. So all those things. Anyhow, this is my contribution.
Wonderful, substantial contribution. Beautiful. And our joy to hear. Hare Krishna. So now we need to put into practice. So every page of Sri Guru and his grace. And when we are seeing every page of Sri Guru and his grace, then also we can think that actually every page of everything we read, something jumps out at us to try to get us to be a devotee. And some of the instructions come down to, it's very simple things in the end. And that is, keep our hearts simple, be chaste, and follow the practices of our devotional life. Whatever we eat, whatever we do, whatever we give away in charity, then do it for Krishna. And how do we do it for Krishna? We learn this through his devotees, and we do it through his devotees. So sadhu sangha, and then what kind of sadhu we want to search out, that section which are senior to us, the same path, we're all aspiring for that ideal, and who is generous towards us, well disposed towards us. Again, the advice is, and I have to say on this subject of avoiding Vaiṣṇava-aparādha, then we see how Gurudev repeatedly says about Mahaprabhu gave us this simple and valuable guidance of Trinadapi sunichena taroreva sahishnuna amanina manadina kirtanya sadaharihi. So it's almost we can't miss mentioning this at least once in our discussion about avoiding Vaiṣṇava-aparādha. And actually, if we can include this in every single discussion we have any time, not only on Zoom, but with anybody, we can think Gurudev will be happy. He will be happy to hear that is being chewed, that is being savored, thought about, preached, practiced, trying to practice.
And Maharaj, the verse the Gurudev likes to quote to, Kaler dosha nidherajan, it says that the Kali, the age of Kali, is already full of imperfections. The dosha means faults in general, some faults, full of faults. And then one interpretation of that verse is that it will all be burned to ashes. All those imperfections, impurities, offenses, sins, burned to ashes, and the congregational chanting of the holy name. But what the mood you just pointed out, Trinadapi sanishna tarore vasa Krishna. So this is how we should proceed. Kirtanya sadahari.
Hare Krishna. And Seva Rupadidi in Mexico, our Mexico Seva Rupadidi. Would you like to make a contribution in English or in Spanish? We have Praneshri Didi, who's a happy translator, but I think your English is good. Your English is good, I remember.
I have to say, Maharaj, that she has been invited to translate the classes also in Chiang Mai.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yes, she's just training.
Perfect. So do you have a contribution for us, Seva Rupadidi, on this theme?
Dandavats, more than a contribution, because I consider myself so fallen soul. I already read so many books, but it's hard to understand it with this material mind. But I am open to ask you kindly. There are so many things running out due to Srila Acharya Maharaj disappearing from this world. So many troubled-minded, even hard-minded, with some I consider new or young devotees. By this, I remember that all our acharyas are always telling us about the faith. So it's not a contribution for myself, but I ask you if you can kindly remind me the stages of the faith and how to achieve them. That will be my petition unto you.
The stages of faith.
Of faith, yeah. Like when we join the any religious procession, yeah, we are just like beginners, and gradually they always encourage us to have a strong faith. So how can we achieve a strong faith within this very special and auspicious movement of Krishna consciousness.
So, yes, so in the beginning, we're coming with Kammal Shraddha, which is soft. We have a soft faith, we have something. And then our aim is to build that faith. And we build that faith through association with the devotees, hearing from the proper source, engaging in service, and engaging in the nine practices of devotional service. Now we have one devotee who is with Guru Maharaj, and I also was with him. His name is Bhargava Prabhu, and he was asking about the leaders, especially that time we're talking about ISKCON, but the leaders who were there, and he is saying, Guru Maharaj, I have full faith in you, but difficult for me to have faith in other places. And Guru Maharaj stopped him and said straight away, full faith in this plane is not possible. And that was quite a shock, because we think, oh, we have full faith. So we must always consider ourselves to be in a very vulnerable position, and we must guard whatever faith we have. Now, so then we understand that all of our faith is soft to some extent in this world. And it is extremely rare to find where you have that 100% faith. And that is the upper world. That is the plane where by that time we are given entrance to our home, where absolutely we've got that 100% faith upwards. But when Bhargava Prabhu said this to Guru Maharaj, and Guru Maharaj responded quite strongly in this way, it really was a wake-up call of how we must be very careful ourselves at every step. So we will consider our faith to be soft always and vulnerable. This is why we are told to give protection to the Bhakti Lata Kripa, to the plant of devotional service, the seed which has been sown by the Guru. So everywhere we will follow the principles of avoiding the 10 offenses, and the opposite of coming into the association of the devotees in that mood of humility, tolerance, giving honor, but praying for some connection in service. So we need to protect our devotional kripa, and we need to nourish the devotional kripa. And this is the point for us all. And we are all in a very junior stage. We live with Guru Maharaj, we live with Gurudev, and we can say Gurudev considers everybody to be, us all to be the young children, the children who are trying to get good habits, good behavior, to learn everything. And so, we are all the students. Guru Maharaj himself said, I am a student forever. But our student position is really in the very vulnerable situation. And you see how very easily some mind can go one way, some mind can go another way. And I can also say that when devotees lost their faith, then, or went away, went to another department, went to some lower practices or whatever it may be, Gurudev almost, you can say always, he's looking to see why, not thinking, oh, that devotee is nonsense, therefore he's gone away or something. But why has somebody who's come to devotional life and come with some faith now change their path, change their faith, put their faith in some different place? And then invariably Gurudev looking to see why, and he's seeing, oh, because of this offense, because of this, that person now is in such a way. And Gurudev sometimes, he's thinking about for weeks, months, but unexpectedly done something very strange. And being with Gurudev, when Gurudev explains, something happens, now I know such and such because of this. I lose this way we can understand what was seen and recognized everywhere as having like that also is very acceptable in this. So it's to our life cautious not to fake, and number two, not to be. Those two things, as long as we are in the world, we will give great attention to. And there is a sloka, for those who know Sanskrit, maybe Paramanandu knows the verse. There is a verse which says this matter. Hare Krishna. We are looking upwards and worshipping that plane of nishta, of ruchi, of all of those qualities that we see, the step by step by step, and then when everything is perfect, then the wonder that is coming from that perfect stage. We are looking up to that and worshipping that, but we have our feet on the ground in this world here.
I think the verse, Maharaj, is Kapila Muni addressing the request of his mother, Devahuti, Satat Prasanga Mama Virya Samvida verse. Where at the end he says that this is all it will come naturally by associating with the sadhus again. We're coming to the same point. Every incarnation, the Lord himself, Swayam Bhagavan says so, his incarnations, his avatars, his devotees, they're pointing in the same direction. There's no difference at all. So he is saying that Shradharatir Bhaktir Anukramishiti, it will come naturally just by being in the company with the Vaishnavas. And as we started today, what is the benefit? How can you be a benefactory, the one who receives, right?
Beneficiary.
A beneficiary. There you go. How you can be that person? You have to understand that too. Not just sit there and do nothing. You have to understand what you should do when you're in the company of the Vaishnavas to get that benefit, to actually develop your Shraddha. So you listen and you serve. Two main things. You come in a mood of surrender, inquire and serve, and practice Trinadapi Saneshana, Taroravasa Krishna. Avoid any Vaiṣṇava-aparādha, and then something will come to your heart. And that's a guarantee. Krishna guarantees that. His devotees guarantee that. But it will happen, like in that verse, naturally, step. Anukramishiti means small step at a time. Slowly it will happen.
Hare Krishna. So to protect and to develop our faith. Yes, Paramananda Prabhu, perfect. And we'll get faith from the faithful. We'll get bhakti from the bhaktiful. We'll get savor from the savorful. And this is why we're all indicating, all of us indicating, Gurudev indicating, hear Guru Maharaj, understand his message. Everything is that. Sri Chaitanya Saraswatma. It is the memorial of Srila Guru Maharaj. Keep Srila Guru Maharaj's message, everything there. There we can hear from the faithful. And we hear this from Srila Gurudev, the faithful. So this is our very process. So with our susceptible faith, then we will try to stay safe with our faith. We could make an English poem maybe if we were to try a little bit. We will stay safe, keep our faith safe and develop that. So Sevarupadiri, we got Sevarupadiri in Mexico, Sevarupadiri. I can say that this time, and actually every time, there's always something. When it's peaceful, you know there's going to be some disturbance. When there's some disturbance, then a little relief will come. We've seen this throughout all of our life in devotional service, the rocky thing. But one thing is we should individually try to see, am I behaving in the way, is my mood in the way that has been directed by Guru Maharaj and Gurudev? And we will start from that point, and we must stay level-headed and always refer to their guidance in all circumstances. And this will keep the harmony, and this will make the the journey of each individual devotee strong, and the more we can do it, the more that will also spread around. Just like in the material world, there may be very few devotees in the material world, but they have an influence imperceptibly on the environment around. So we shall try to look after our own attitude, and we can share whatever we understand in an honest way with those who may come with, honest inquiry, which is why we're here. We're here happily with those who are happy to share these things.
Thank you to all.
Hare Krishna. We must encourage the faith of everybody, but in the way that Guru Maharaj has given, not fanatic faith. It must be realistic, everything with our feet on the ground. And here Chinmoy Prabhu's put in the chat box, a person who criticizes a Vaishnava's previous faults, the almost completely destroyed remnant of his previous faults, or his momentary lapses. Okay, so these are the four things. Is a fool who will be punished by Yamaraj. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the Harinam Chintamani. Hare Krishna. So let's do the opposite. Let's glorify the Vaishnavas and not notice all of these things. We mentioned last time about Gurudev's praise of Ajita Krishna Prabhu, who passed away in the early 70s. Gurudev saying everybody's got some faults, but he never noticed. He would not notice any fault. He would ignore any fault in any devotee. And still I say, if anybody wants some boost in their mood of devotional service, hear Srila Gurudev glorifying Ajita Krishna Prabhu. It is so wonderful for our hearts.
And you mentioned that we should listen to that class, and it caught my heart when Gurudev said that his mood, Ajita Krishna's mood of service, was so big, it was 10 times more than his, trying to serve Srila Guru Maharaj. That was so beautiful. He was praising Ajita Krishna like this. Very beautiful.
Gurudev has that Vaishnava vision and sees everything and fully generous to give all honor and praise where it is due. Jai. And on Facebook, I do have Facebook open, but please excuse, I kind of didn't look. So to those, Madhava Prabhu and Krishna Kanti Didi is with us too. To each you my obeisances, to Anukul Chandra Prabhu, my obeisances, Kitty Kadamba, my obeisances, and to
Swarnangi Didi. Swarnangi Didi in Sokel.
Swarnangi Didi in Sokel, and Purnima in Mauritius. Didi, we are with you all. We are remembering you all, happily having you with us. I know you're hearing on Facebook, and on Zoom we're able to discuss. And we've been together for the last hour or so, and happily trying to keep our basics of devotional service firm and strong, and then what our gurus will put on top of that. That is their grace. But we need to keep our foundation firm and strong, protect what we have, and as much as possible also try to proceed, not just to stay in one place. And actually on that theme, Guru Maharaj said about a bird flying, then if the bird stops flapping its wings, then it'll also flop to the ground. So we do have to keep flapping our wings to maintain our flight and to make our progress. Hare Krishna. Or allow Krishna to pull us onto the back of Garuda, who has wonderful wings. And where did we read? We read something very beautiful recently about Garuda, and how beautiful was Vishnu standing on the back of Garuda, twirling a lotus flower, etc. for another day. All right, today our theme, avoiding Vaiṣṇava-aparādha, and given to us by Jivana Devidasi, and many thanks Jivana for pointing those things out and for sending that clipping of your notes. And actually, I love notes, love taking notes. I love looking through old notes.
I have to give all the credit to Vaishnav Maharaj and his classes and him.
He
All credit
does.
to Vaishnava Maharaj and his classes, and to Jivana for reminding us and revealing. You can't escape Jivana, not fully. All right, dear devotees, let us not escape our shelter under Srila Gurudev, Srila Guru Maharaj, and Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet, under the eye of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, of Mahaprabhu Nityananda and the Rupa Nuga Guru Vaga. To all of them, Ki Jai, and to all of our present Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Brinda, Ki Jai, and to all our worldwide devotees, senior, junior, all departments, Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Oh, Dandabat, joining us also from SoCal. Dandabat from San Jose. So please, I leave you together, but I'll take your leave just for now. Chanting the name of the Lord, glorifying the Vaishnavas, and trying to be happy. Hare Krishna.
Jai. Jai Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj ki Jai.
Right.
Yeah.
All appreciated everywhere, each of you. Dandavat.
Thank you.